So we'd love to start at the kind of more personal level, the kind of rewilding the heart, if you like. And I think, what we'd love to hear is just a kind of, if you could each maybe briefly share a snippet of your personal journey, something kind of like maybe something that's propelled you into your current work. Maybe it was a moment of transformation. Maybe it was a moment of crisis, and followed by a bit of a wake-up call, or a bit of an epiphany. But yeah, just something that kind of speaks to our theme and your work. So Claire, maybe we could start with you.
Gosh, so many stories. Which one? I think the meatiest, I mean, I could talk about the car crash that gave me tree sisters because it was given in a car crash, but actually the meatiest one was, oh gosh, about 2002, maybe, New Year's. This was before Tree Sisters even was a vague twinkle in my eye. I was at a dance workshop and it was New Year's Eve, and we were being told to do ritual theatre, which was my idea of hell on earth as a serious introvert back then. And they gave my pod The Rape of the Earth to play, which, not the most cheerful New Year's Eve kind of a thing. But I decided that I would play the earth because I'd probably have to do the least, just get raped, pretty easy stuff. And bear in mind, all the way through my 20s, I had had nightmares of no more clouds. And so living in England, no more clouds, no more rain. What's going to happen? What sort of climate change is this? Is this the Gulf Stream? Like, what is it? They wouldn't stop. And so I was becoming terrorized by the reality of the potential of no rainfall in the UK. And so I was searching, but I got to play earth. And so they dressed me in every article of clothing that anybody had. I was absolutely enormous. I sat on a throne and I was handing out imaginary cups of tea, and they raped me. And so they stripped me naked, basically. They were yanking at my hair. They were pulling at me. They were fighting over my body parts. They weren't seeing me. They weren't seeing Gaia. The sacredness of her was nothing compared to what we could pull out of her, or overfish out of her, or mine her for, or poison her for, or deforest her for, and I was naked. And at that point I had to hurl myself on the floor and scream, which I did. And I'm lying on the floor and there's this nursery rhyme running around my head: all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. And I'm going into shock and I'm freezing cold, and I'm lying there going, oh my God, you can't put a planet into therapy. Oh my God, we don't get to put her back on the throne. Oh my God, by the time you've completely destroyed her, she can't, she's losing it. She's losing it. We're losing it. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And they're like, I was going into deep trauma, and they picked me up, put me back on my throne, dressed me up, did a little community dance. And I'm sat there staring at the audience. Everybody's crying. I'm just finished, sat there. And I couldn't even walk. They had to literally get me up off my seat, go and sit me down in the audience again. And I sat there, can't remember the rest of the evening until somebody hands the present bag. You all have to bring a present to the workshop, and then you put your hand in, you take out a present. And I took out this square thing and I unwrapped it, and it's a little blue book with one white cloud. And inside the white cloud, it says, you can change the world. And that was it. I burst. I sat there hearing this weird noise in the room, realizing it was me wailing, picked myself up, walked out of the door. It was pouring with rain outside and pitch black. And I just walked off into the forest. Gosh, still makes me want to cry. And just howled and howled and howled. This is my world. This is my world. And we're destroying her. This is my world. And I can't bear it. I have to do something. I have to do something. You can't do something. You're nothing. What have you got to possibly offer? You can't do anything, but I have to do something. I have to do something. You're a woman. They're not going to listen to you. You can't do anything. Get back in the kitchen. I have to do something. And my love was raising, and my shadow ego was bashing me over the head. And then this archetypal argument starts happening, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm building up, and I'm crying harder and harder. And I'm in that gap of total fury between my love and my fear. And I end up in this archetypal planetary human shadow rage between patriarchy and the victim feminine, and the victim of the earth sat there just being shredded. And after, I don't know how long I was out there for, completely drenched, absolutely freezing, raging with myself, raging with the system, raging with my fear, and my love won. And I was just like, I don't care if I'm a complete failure. Like, I don't care. Like, I was a total introvert back then, you know, pretty much a recluse. I had no idea how to even use a computer. I didn't know what I was going to do. But what I knew was that my life had to be given to the restoration of this world, or I couldn't stomach myself. Like, I couldn't, like, I'm a woman who couldn't have children because I couldn't bring a child into this world. I couldn't do it because I can't, like, this, the future that they now have, that we have created for them, and that we're still mindlessly presenting them with and expecting them not to be mentally ill, I can't do it. You know, I'm thrilled there are people that are, because I'm fighting for the world that will inhabit, you know, that those kids will inhabit, but I couldn't do it. So it was just, that's it. My life is for her. My life is for Gaia. My life is for the children. And that started like this just completely single-minded search, which took me to India, took me to agroforestry, took me to the trees, and then ultimately gave me the car crash that a voice basically told me what I was supposed to do, and like word for word, the name, the project, the everything, the purpose of it. And then that's all you know, that's it. That was the turning. That was enough intensity to mean that I had sufficient momentum each time my fears came. Like, the momentum was being sufficient to keep me going, despite, frankly, not having a clue what I'm doing and being terrified most of the time. But as you discover, that's not an excuse.